Every 4 years, America celebrates democracy, the peaceful transfer of power from one administration to the next. But what if the real power never changes hands? What if elected officials are merely actors in a play, while true authority lies in the shadows? For decades, insiders have whispered about a hidden power structure, a government within the government. Career bureaucrats, intelligence officials, and corporate leaders who hold the real reins of power. This is their story. Deep beneath the marble halls of Washington, a vast network of permanent officials continues working long after elected representatives go home. They don't answer to voters. They don't leave office. They are the deep state. Their fingerprints are everywhere. Wars that continue despite public opposition. Policies that persist across opposing administrations, economic decisions that benefit hidden interests. This isn't conspiracy. This is how America really works. They call themselves the permanent government. Some have held their positions for decades, outlasting presidents and shaping policy from the shadows. They are the architects of America's true agenda. To understand the deep state's power, we must first look at how it came to be. The deep state's birth date? September 18, 1947. That day, with a single signature, President Truman created an intelligence apparatus more powerful than anything America had seen before. Through Operation Paperclip, America didn't just gain Nazi scientists. They gained 1,600 intelligence officers, bureaucrats, and administrators. The same men who had run Hitler's secret state were now teaching America their methods. Dr. Hubertus Strughold, the father of space medicine, brought not just his research, but his entire administrative network. By 1953, Allen Dulles, a Wall Street lawyer, became CIA director. His brother, John Foster Dulles, was Secretary of State. One family now controlled both America's overt and covert foreign policy. They called it policy coordination. Critics called it something else. In the decades that followed, a shadow infrastructure emerged. Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center in Virginia, Raven Rock Mountain Complex in Pennsylvania, Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado, massive underground cities built to house thousands of unelected officials who would ensure continuity of government, even if elected leaders were gone. The paper trail tells the story. Project MK Naomi, a biological weapons research that never ended. Project Artichoke, mind control experiments that officially stopped. Each program spawned dozens of others, each with its own permanent staff, classified budget, and immunity from oversight. Today, the numbers are staggering. 854,000 Americans hold top-secret clearance. The classified black budget exceeds $80 billion annually, and these are just the numbers they admit to. But money and manpower are just tools. The real power lies in how the deep state operates. Every night at 9 p.m., most of Washington's elected officials head home. But in secure facilities across the city, 17,000-plus employees with TSSCI clearance are just starting their work. The deep state's true genius? Hiding in plain sight. Take the Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs, a supposedly boring agency that few have heard of. Yet every major federal regulation must pass through its halls, where career officials can quietly modify, delay, or kill any policy they choose. Notice how foreign policy stays eerily consistent, regardless of who's president. In 2012, Obama promised to reset relations with Russia.
Americans and Russians share common interests that form a basis for cooperation. That's why I have called for a reset in relations between the United States and Russia.
In 2016, Trump promised the same. Yet both administrations expanded NATO, increased military presence in Eastern Europe, and maintained sanctions. The elected leaders changed. The policy didn't. Follow the career of someone like Robert Gates, CIA analyst under Nixon, CIA director under Bush Sr., Secretary of Defense under both Bush Jr. and Obama, or John Brennan, 25 years in the CIA, serving presidents from Carter to Obama. These aren't anomalies. They're how the system maintains control. The structure is ingenious. Every agency has a senior executive service, career officials who can't be fired when administrations change. They control budgets, personnel, and most importantly, information flow. When a new president takes office, these are the people who decide what they get to see. Some parts of the machine are completely immune from electoral oversight. The Federal Reserve isn't part of the federal government. It's a private banking cartel. The NSA's budget isn't approved by Congress. It's hidden in classified appropriations that even most senators can't access. But to truly understand the deep state's power, follow the money trail. The deep state isn't just a government operation. It's a public-private partnership worth trillions. And once you understand the money flow, everything else makes sense. In 2023 alone, Lockheed Martin made $67 billion. Raytheon, $58 billion. Boeing's defense division, $24 billion. But here's what they don't teach you in economics class. 85% of these companies' board members are former government officials. The same people who approved military budgets now profit from them. The pattern repeats everywhere. Timothy Geithner goes from the Federal Reserve to Treasury Secretary to private equity. William Lynn moves from Pentagon procurement to Raytheon executive. James Clapper leaves intelligence oversight for military tech consulting. This isn't a coincidence. It's a business model. The numbers are staggering. $80 billion yearly for intelligence agencies, $826 billion for defense. But the real money is in what they call contingency operations, classified programs with unlimited budgets and zero oversight. In 2021 alone, the Pentagon admitted to $35 trillion in accounting adjustments. That's more than the entire U.S. GDP. And it's not just weapons. Palantir Technologies made $1.5 billion in 2022 processing surveillance data. Booz Allen Hamilton, $8.4 billion managing classified networks. The deep state isn't just collecting intelligence, it's become America's most profitable industry. At the top sits the Federal Reserve, a private bank with the power to create money. When the deep state needs funding, they don't ask Congress. They make a phone call to the Fed. Black budgets, classified appropriations, special access programs, all funded through a system most Americans don't even know exists. But money is just a means to an end. The real question is, what is all this building toward? What's the purpose of this vast machine? The truth is hiding in plain sight, in policy papers, think tank reports, and public statements that few bother to read. Every January, 3,000 of the world's most powerful people meet in Davos, Switzerland, not to respond to events, but to plan them. The Great Reset, Agenda 2030. These aren't conspiracy theories. They're publicly announced roadmaps, written by the same people who move between government agencies, global banks, and multinational corporations. In the last decade alone, they've built an infrastructure of control that would make George Orwell shudder. The NSA processes 100 billion data points daily. Smart cities track citizens' every movement. Central bank digital currencies promise to monitor every transaction. And artificial intelligence systems now predict human behavior with frightening accuracy. Notice how every major country implemented the same policies during recent global events, same lockdown protocols, same digital tracking systems, same economic measures. This wasn't coincidence, it was coordination, a dress rehearsal for something bigger. The pieces are almost in place. Digital IDs linked to social credit scores, programmable currency that can be turned off at will, artificial intelligence systems to monitor dissent, a global surveillance grid that can track anyone, anywhere. This isn't about politics anymore, it's about power, absolute and permanent. The deep state isn't just a shadow government anymore. It's evolved into something far more ambitious, a blueprint for a new world order, and it's closer to completion than most people realize. But there's something they didn't count on. Something that changes everything we thought we knew about this story. Everything you've just heard is based on real events, real people, and real institutions. But like a magic trick, the truth isn't in what you're shown. It's in what you're not seeing. Yes, there are millions of career government employees. Yes, many policies continue across administrations. Yes, there are classified budgets and revolving doors. But the reality is both simpler and more complex than a shadowy cabal pulling strings. The truth? Government agencies frequently fight each other. Intelligence services withhold information from each other. Career officials leak against their own departments. The Pentagon loses track of billions, not because of sinister plots, but because of bureaucratic incompetence. The system is too chaotic, too competitive, too human for the kind of coordination our story suggested. If there really was a deep state controlling everything, why did Trump's trade war with China completely reverse decades of policy? Why did COVID responses vary wildly between countries? Why do whistleblowers constantly expose classified programs? A true shadow government would prevent all of this. The deeper truth is that humans crave simple explanations for complex problems. It's more comforting to believe a hidden hand controls everything than to face a scarier reality. No one is fully in control. The world is a messy network of competing interests, institutional inertia, and unintended consequences. This doesn't mean we shouldn't worry about government power. The NSA did build massive surveillance systems. Military contractors do make billions from war. Former officials do take lucrative private sector jobs. But these aren't signs of a master plan. They're predictable results of human nature, incentive structures, and organizational dynamics. The real threat isn't a secret cabal. It's our tendency to stop asking questions once we think we've found one. By imagining an all-powerful deep state, we blind ourselves to the actual ways power operates, and the very real ways we can reform it. If you have made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I'll be posting videos weekly, so don't forget to like and subscribe for more like this. You can also check out my other videos listed here. Until next time, remember, sometimes the darkness holds more than just shadows.